Welcome to Louisiana Heart Beats. I'm Sudie Landry, your host, and today we have someone special on my show. He is known as Mojo with the Bayou Gypsy Band, and he's going to share his story. Now, a lot of Acadiana people know this young man sitting at my table, but a lot of us don't. So, Mojo, welcome to the show.
It's my pleasure to be here.
I'm so excited that you were able to come, and please share with us. I want to know, who is Mojo?
Well, that's a good question. Mojo is a pretty complex but very simple man. I've been very lucky all my life to pursue every interest I've ever had. I had a mom and daddy that encouraged me, a family that encouraged me. So I consider myself truly a Renaissance person in that, thank God I got a good education because my daddy never went to school.
That's right.
Daddy made sure that we all had good educations. I also was lucky enough to be in a family that encouraged talent and music and acting and dancing and any artistic skill we had, our family really nurtured.
So it's in your genes that you are to naturally pursue being an entertainer, a motivator, an encourager, an artist, just goes on and on. When did you
Yeah.
first start performing?
Well, despite my being only 26 years old, I was actually born before television.
Wow.
Television was brand new when I was a kid, and we were raised in a family, a very close family, that got together every Saturday at my auntie's house. We had a wonderful family meal. We would have 35 people there, all of the aunts, uncles, mom and daddy, grandparents, and my cousins. We were all there. Always had a fabulous meal, and the children were the after-meal entertainment. So I watched my cousins as I grew up and my brothers as I grew up as they would entertain our family after our family meal. My first shot was at about 3 years of age when Mama said, okay, it's going to be your turn next Saturday. What do you want to do? And I said, I want to be Elvis Presley and sing You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog. So Mama brought my little I can't remember what they called the sport coats. They were light colored, they were single breasted, but Elvis Presley had one and I had one, and I had a little bow tie, and Mama brought my saddle shoes, they called them. I had black and white saddle shoes, which were the rage at that time. I did not have a guitar.
Okay.
So I spent 20 minutes crawling through my Auntie Hilda's kitchen cabinets, and I pulled out a great big iron skillet.
Oh, how
and
sweet.
that was my guitar. I remember the moment that it was my turn, and I got up and I sang You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog, pretending I was playing the guitar, all dressed up. The reaction of the family, the clapping, the screaming, the laughter, the joy, I knew at that moment this is something I want to do for the rest of my life. I was only 3 years old.
So you felt that stirring, you knew then this is what you wanted to.
I knew it was a gift to do it. I knew it was a gift that I had to give. And I knew at that age that this is something I want to do. And Mama and Daddy encouraged me.
That is wonderful to have that support and also know that you loved it and you had that special feeling of appreciation and you wanted to do more.
Truly.
So that was 3 years old. When was
Right.
the next performance?
Well, I mean, I performed all the time with family and friends. But when I was 11 years old, we had, back in the early 60s, I'm kind of giving away my age. In the early 60s, we had what were called garage bands. One day we were playing. We were 11 years old. There were four of us. And a guy came over and said, y'all kids are good. I'll give you $150 to play for my party on
Wow.
Saturday night. Now think about it.
How old?
That was 1962. A grown man made $1 an hour,
Wow.
made $40 in a week.
Wow.
We were each going to make about $40 in 3 hours.
Awesome.
So I realized that was a good way to make a living. And I've been playing music professionally since I'm 11 years old.
So your name, Mojo, what is that? Where did that come from?
A
and
mojo,
why?
a mojo is a good luck charm. It's not a bad gris-gris, it's a good luck charm, usually a love charm.
Well, let's talk
And when
about
I was
your...
about 11 years old, my drummer at the time gave me that name.
There you
And
go.
I've had it ever since.
And so you're actually born Cajun.
No, I'm not,
You're
actually.
not?
No, I'm a
Really?
transplant.
Yeah, I am too. Whoa.
Yeah, I came here a little more than half my life ago. I was the youngest member of my generation.
Okay.
My family started dying off when I was 12, 13 years old. By the time I was 18 years old, almost all of my aunts and uncles had started dying off, and the family was small, very unusual family. By the time I got out of college, almost everybody had passed away. I wound up being a single dad, raising my children myself, and really had no home. You know, I didn't have an identity and a home until I came to Southwest Louisiana, and I was immediately, myself and my children were immediately adopted by Cajun and Creole families who were just like my family.
I know.
They took us in, and most of my daughter's aunts and uncles are right here in Acadiana,
Isn't that
including,
awesome?
now they're all grown, but even the guardian of my children, had I passed away, was right here in Portia Bridge.
I mean, what can we say? This area is just loving, and they welcome and they nurture, they
Yes.
encourage. You just can't help but fall in love. I'm a transplant also, but I'm only 4 hours away from Shreveport to here, and there's a totally different world.
It is a totally different world.
Totally
We're actually
different
going to play
world.
in Shreveport. We're headlining on Saturday night for Mudbug Madness.
Ooh,
They're bringing us in as a total change, something totally unique.
I
So yeah,
promise
it's only
you.
a few hours away, but it's a different world.
it's a totally different world. Well, okay, so now you are Mojo and the Bayou Gypsies.
Yes, ma'am.
You want to share some information how your band was formed?
Well, back in the early and mid 80s, my kids and I always made music together. I was a pro, and my oldest child was a prodigious fiddler and violinist.
I read
At 4
that.
years old, she was ready to perform professionally, and we used to perform at family parties. You know, we would do acoustic Celtic music, Cajun music, Creole music, just fiddle and guitar.
Wow.
I realized in the early 80s that we could do this every night on a stage with 1,000 people. So we put together, the original show, Mojo and the Bayou Gypsies, was acoustic.
Okay.
It was an acoustic trio.
Yes.
It was bass, guitar, and fiddle. Then I added accordion in the late 80s. I couldn't find accordion players because they're hard to find out when you leave Acadiana, so I became the accordion player in the late 80s. And the end result was the show developed further and further. Starting in about 85, when we performed professionally, we only played original music. So we've been all original music since 1985.
I love that. My heart is to showcase locals. My heart is to showcase people to get the exposure. And you're saying original. There is so much original floating around in Lafayette. If people just would give the chance to these people to present themselves, it's amazing. And I'm proud to be a part of Acadiana Open Channel because they're doing exactly that with another show. And so your songs are original. So when you go out and you perform, you let the audience know they're original. You're
Oh,
not
yeah.
singing anybody else's songs but yours.
That's correct.
That's
And-
a smart move.
And you really hit the nail on the head. We have so much phenomenal talent right here in Acadiana, but nobody ever gets a chance.
Right.
You know, if you go to festivals, you might have 15 different bands and they're playing the same 20 songs.
I know.
And I am a firm believer that you can preserve art and culture. That's a nice thing. But it's also a nice thing to realize it's a living, breathing thing that you have to nurture and continue to grow.
That's right.
So I'm real pro advocacy for the unsung heroes, the young people who are making their own original music, the people in my generation who are unique and original who never get a chance. That's who I really like to champion.
Well, now I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yes, ma'am.
Unsung heroes.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't you think that would make a wonderful television show?
Yeah, there's actually a pilot that I did, and I myself and Johnny Raymond in Breaux Bridge were the founders of the Tesh Center for the Arts, which is now taking shape in Breaux Bridge. And our goal, in our first discussions at the coffee table at the coffee house in Breaux Bridge, was to create a performing arts center that would nurture the arts, give young people a chance, give the underdog a chance, allow the culture to expand and grow, which is a powerful thing to do. I don't just speak and think about these things. I take action.
Well, that's good.
You know.
That's needed.
Yeah, it is. And the proof is in the pudding. I don't talk about it much because I live my life very privately and quietly. And almost everything I've contributed as a historian, as a documentarian, as a filmmaker, as a musician, as an entertainer, as a mentor, has always been done anonymously. That's been my mode of operating. But I will share some stories. We're in the process right now. There's a wonderful young musician named Forrest Uval. Doc Uval, the veterinarian who passed away, he was my best buddy in Breaux Bridge, and he introduced me to this young kid, Forrest Uval, great musician. He's in his early 20s, he's in college, great kid. I was asked to do a show in Canada in July, a really huge, powerful show. I decided I wanted to give Forrest Uval the shot because he deserves it. I've encouraged him to play primarily his own music, which he says he can do. And in the process, I'm not just giving him a show. I'm not just booking him a show internationally. I'm teaching him the whole business. I'm making him work on the contract.
There you go.
I'm making him work on the Canadian tax laws and tax documents. I'm making him put together his show. I'm making him do the travel arrangements. Obviously, it's a little bit greased and he's being
You're
guided.
creating him to be able to have his own business
That's
and know
right.
how to run it.
He's going to do one show with me and he's going to be in business for the rest of his life.
That is totally a different take than you hear these days. Usually somebody else is running the whole thing.
That's true.
Oh, is that the word entrepreneur? Is that how you say that word?
His mentor, actually.
Okay,
The
you're
way
a
I do it,
mentor,
I'm a
all
mentor.
right.
You know, I believe people have said to me, how can you do that? How can you give away your secrets? Or how can you, divulge what you're doing in your art? My philosophy is, if some young person steals everything I do, my art lives forever.
There you go.
It's a good deal.
You have no complaints in that
Right,
area.
right. And, my hope is that someday there'll be people crying at my funeral and saying, I'm so glad that guy's gone.
You know what? I attended this local meetup meeting for the first time, and you were there. And I was really, really impressed. But at the end of, when everybody else had said everything they had to say, you quietly got up and casually mentioned what you were part of. And I was impressed. But what impressed me more than anything was reading about what you do for communities. And we're probably going to do another show on that, so you can share all of that. So you're going to give away some of those things that you do to motivate other people. And so
Absolutely.
I have some bad news for you.
Little sad.
You got teamed up with me, so you have to tell me what I cannot say in the future. Because when I meet someone that means so much, and you do so much, I get excited. So I have to say, tell me what I cannot say in the future, because I love motivating people, I love encouraging people, I love sharing, and that's where I say I have a big mouth, and God has given me favor in that territory. And so I just met someone, like I said, Acadiana may know you. A lot of people around the world know you, but I want Lafayette to know you and who you are and what you're doing and your invitation later, that we'll talk about all those different things.
Sure.
Unless, like right now, okay, you have the band. Share with us, what have you done in Lafayette with this band? Lately? Recently?
The interesting thing about my business, and I really believe the music business is 99% business and only 1% music. You really have to know how to do business. That's why when some of the young musicians ask me to mentor them, I say, first thing you got to do is you got to really learn how to read and write.
True.
You got to be able to read a contract. You got to be able to make travel arrangements. You got to be able to make a fiduciary decision. You got to understand your money and your books and what your costs are. And you have to understand that your ego has no place in the business. Because what you're selling is a product. And you're going to get 99% of the time, you're going to get rejected. If I had taken a beating and quit, man, I would have been 11 years old and quit. I'm a
Right.
hard dog to keep down.
Me too.
And I encourage young people to do the same thing. It's a hard challenge. It's tough. But anybody out there, if you see what I'm doing, you can do it too. My buddy Joel Wallens, who invented the Cajun hot nuts that's in every gift shop all over Louisiana and elsewhere, he said something profound to me, and I believe it. And he said, if another human being can do something I want to do, that means I can do it too. And it's a true story. So in Acadiana, I've been a silent mentor. I've been a historian. I'm the executive producer of the Mervyn Kahn Legacy documentary series. I'm the guy that got the rub board, the Zydeco rub board into the
Yes,
Smithsonian
yes.
Institution. And I was able to do that because Daddy made me go to school. I couldn't have done that any other way. So Daddy's really ultimately responsible. My buddy T. Don, his daddy made the first rub board. We knew that story for a long time. And then when Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top bought a couple of T. Don's rub boards, Billy said to us, you know, that rub board really belongs in the Smithsonian. It's an American invention. It should be in the Smithsonian. We did the anecdotal historic investigation, and we discovered, lo and behold, it belongs in the Smithsonian. We did the research, and it's in the Smithsonian.
Wow.
Louisiana icon of Louisiana music and culture is in the Smithsonian. Everybody around the world knows that symbol of the Zydeco rub board. Performing-wise, I don't perform at all, hardly at home, for business reasons.
You go out.
You know, I tell the young guys, Boudin is $1.25 a link in Lafayette, and it's $10 a link in New York City, where you want to sell Boudin, you know? So I've sold Boudin outside Louisiana. I've been in the export business all of my career. When I perform in Louisiana, I've performed 6 times in 30 years in the state of Louisiana.
Okay.
All but one was a benefit. I've done 2 concerts to raise money for the Rain Historic District Association, which is funding the production of the Mervyn Kahn Legacy. Excuse me. I've done a benefit for the Autism Society of Acadiana. I did a benefit performance for the Big Read up in Jonesboro, Louisiana. Kids got tickets to go if they read 10 books.
Wow.
And the families got tickets to go.
Motivation.
Yep, the families got tickets to go if they read 3 books together. It's
I
powerful.
understand that you have a heart for the children.
Yes, I'm a Shriner, so my heart is for burned and crippled children. And I've spent much of my adult life working for children because no man stands so tall as when he stoops to help a child.
Wow, I love that. I love that. It's true.
So I'm the founder. I'm not talking about myself to talk about myself. I'm talking
Well, I'm
about
glad
things.
he's talking about himself because you're helping so many people.
That's why I'm talking
That's
about
right.
it.
I
I'd
know
rather
that.
just be a good example. You know, I don't need any accolades. There's a very prominent person in the arts who accused me of doing things for my own personal benefit.
Oh, I've been accused of that.
So, yes, I do
No big
things
deal.
for my own personal benefit. I help crippled and bird children because it makes me feel good. I buy wheelchairs and special bikes for children because it makes me feel good. You know, I'm the founder of Special Bikes for Special Kids, which is a program through Shriners Hospital for Children where we build hybrid bicycles and wheelchairs so that a kid who thinks they can't ride a bicycle can ride a bicycle.
Oh, that is amazing.
Yeah,
That
they
is
may be able to
so
propel
wonderful.
it with their head or their neck or their finger, but we're going to make that kid able to ride a bike.
You know what, Mojo? I was part of a on-the-road filming crew, and we went to a park where kids in wheelchairs were able to swing in a special-made swing for them for the first time. And we caught the expressions on their faces. It was amazing
Truly.
to see that. So that's an awesome thing to share. And I kind of twisted your arm a little bit, and I really appreciate you tooting the horn, but you did it because people in Acadiana are just, you know, so awesome in so many ways, and so are the givers. And you're one of those givers. So I appreciate you sharing it with us, what you've been part of. And I hope to do another show where we do talk about in
Well,
depth
Sudie,
some
I'm
of
going
those
to tell you,
things.
I'm going to tell you right now on the air,
Yes?
you're the first person on television that I've ever shared these stories with because I've always believed in working anonymously.
I know.
Herman Fuselier was the first reporter who came to my home in 50 years in the business. He came a couple of months ago and he wrote an article entitled Coming Out of the Shadows.
I love that guy. He's an
Yes,
awesome
he's
man.
brilliant. I love him.
Yes.
He's kept a lot of my secrets. I've given him opinions on entertainment and industry stuff
And I've exploded
for
all
years.
over. Here we go.
And he's always kept my confidence. That is a good person, a great writer, a great editor, and a real asset for the community.
Well, I want to let you know that I really appreciate that, and there's a reason for you sharing it. I believe, you know, at this time, I mean, people who know me know that I'm a Christian, and I'm just an everyday person trying to do the best I can. I don't have to wear a certain label, that's just who I am. And I am here because I believe in helping others. And I believe that everybody is put together for a reason. And this season has changed for me also, Mojo. You're doing something that you have never done, and I appreciate that, but I really believe it is God's timing because of the fact that there's a new season with me. Things that people don't know about me is coming out, and doors are opening up for me on a heart's desire many years ago that I had put aside, but God had not forgotten all those things you do,
Well, that's a
and
good
you
thing.
reap what you sow. But I was like you. I wasn't keeping track of everything I was doing. I am having so much fun being part of this Acadiana Open Channel because people sitting at this table come out with some of the most awesome things that I don't even know about. And I always seem to get blessed. Somebody shares something on TV that I didn't know, and it just blesses me. So I thank you. And I think that, our seasons together, just even if it's here or just casually meeting in the future at the meetings, I think it's going to connect us with people who need those things that
Absolutely.
you are so driven to be part of.
Absolutely.
And I have a big mouth, so, I love telling everybody. So if you need free advertising, that's me.
Well, I'll tell you.
And I believe in something, I believe in something.
You said something powerful, and back in the early 90s, my friend Stan Durrell, everybody knows him as Buckwheat Zydeco.
Yes.
My daughter that I mentioned as a prodigious fiddler, excuse me, had amazing talent even as a child, and Stan said something to her that I live in my life every day. I did it before, but when he said it, it was so powerful even to me. He said, remember, your talent is a gift from God,
That's it.
but it's not for you. It's for you to make other people happy.
That's true.
And that's what I've tried to do all my life. And Mom and Daddy always encouraged me. Daddy was a Shriner. I did charity with my parents all of my life while they were alive. And they were a great example. And Daddy used to say, you cannot push, you can only lead.
I love that.
So
I love that.
I try to lead.
Well, you're doing a very good job.
I
But
hope
I'm
so.
learning about you. I'm going to lead a lot of people to you.
I hope so.
But I
hope so.
really appreciate that. I know we have now about maybe 4 minutes left in the show, going on 3. Let's talk about some of the visions that you have. What do you want to share?
Well, promoting our community and culture is really important to me. We often are misled or forget that what we call Acadiana is really a melting pot.
Yes, it is.
We have pretty much every ethnic group you can think of living in Acadiana. It's not just Cajuns. It's not just Creoles. We have Germans. We have Jews. We have Asians. We have everything you can think of. We have people from the Middle East. We have all cultures represented here. It's important to me to keep that gumbo stirred, keep people aware. The Mervyn Kahn legacy is a big part of that mission because it's the story of a French-speaking German Jew who happened to get off the train on his way to invest in a store in Beaumont, got convinced by the Cajuns to stay and reign, changed the entire community and all of our culture forever because one of the things he started importing was from Germany, the Cajun accordions.
Okay, well, guess what? We are going to end this show right now, and we're going to pick up in another show, and we're going to start with where we just left off. Is that good with you?
But I want you to also know we have a new reality show called Swamp
And
Girls Going
that's-
Crazy.
ooh.
And that is also promoting our culture because it's about our greatest asset, the strong, beautiful, wonderful, smart women in our culture.
That's right.
And those Bayou girls, those Swamp girls, when they're 15 years old and they say, I'm going to be somebody, people say, that girl's going crazy. That's what the story's about, successful women from Bayou country.
Well, that's a great way to end show number 1. So right now I'm going to say thank you for watching Louisiana Heart Beats. This is Sudie Landry, and with me today right now was Mojo with Bayou Gypsy Band, and also a man of many things, but with a heart of gold to help those who need help. So stay tuned. Every Tuesday night at 9 o'clock, it might be just you or Mojo again sharing with us about his Swamp Girls Gone Wild and the story.
Going crazy.
Crazy. You say it then.
Swamp Girls Going Crazy, the iron fists and the silk gloves.
Thank you, and tune in every night at 9 p.m.
Merci beaucoup.